Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of StarCraft, where I take you through the missions and how to get the achievements. Today's mission is the Crucible, in the Heart of the Swarm campaign. This mission is really quite simple. It's basically just a defense mission, or turtle mission, which is basically you have 3 different pathways you have to defend once you get to the Crucible, and other than that, it's just keep Kerrigan's cocoon from taking damage, which is really simple. The 2 hardest things is your expansion is outside the Crucible, and I believe halfway through the mission, if you want the Kerrigan levels, there is a creature that spawns at the bottom of the map that is outside the Crucible and across a raging battle that's going on between 2 of the primals. So basically you have to kind of figure a way to either use burrowing roaches or some sort of flying units that can get over there without getting too engaged by the 2 warring factions. Okay, the achievements for this mission are the Crucible. Complete the mission. Epic mealtime. Kill 75 enemies with primal locusts. Can't touch this. Chrysalis. Don't let the Chrysalis take any damage on normal. Sorry I didn't do that first, but I just wanted to jump into the description of this mission. But yeah, as you can tell from the way this map looks, the expansion is just outside the Crucible Bowl, and there are 3 possible pathways here. Now you're going to want to build a lot of mutalisks, probably roaches, spore crawlers, spine crawlers, and your swarm hosts. I'd say position about 5 swarm hosts at each of the entrances. This should be enough. And then once you have the swarm host positioned, give them backup of 2 to 3 spore crawlers and as many spine crawlers around the map, around those entrances as you can. This is the first entrance right here. And the one thing you do have to remember about your spore crawlers is you want to keep a creep spread going, because the spore crawlers and spine crawlers can only be placed on creep. Now, swarm host can basically burrow wherever they want, so you don't have to worry too much on that. But you do want to have it to where you can burrow your spine crawlers and spore crawlers. Also, when you're setting up your defenses, put your spore crawlers and spine crawlers in front of your locusts, because they're not as heavy as an investment as swarm hosts are. And also, if you ever get like overwhelmed or something like that, just remember that eventually, here in a minute, they will give you the ability to spawn primal locusts, and they basically will attack wherever and whoever is attacking you. Yeah, until you have a decent sized force, make sure you keep your spore crawlers and spine crawlers able to defend each different side at a moment's notice. Another thing is, if you look up on the ridge just above the base over here, you will see Dahaka, which is a primal Zerg that's just kind of watching the battle. He comes into play in one of the later missions, or later on in the campaign, I should say. I'm kind of wanting them to turn him into one of the co-op commanders, because I think it would be kind of cool to have a primal Zerg, because we already have the 2 Zerg commanders in Zagara and Kerrigan, and then we have a support Zerg, which is Abathur, and I like the way they play. And I'm just interested to see how they would set it up with the Primal Zergs, because the way the Primal Zergs work is they work a lot like Abathur does, in that they ingest biomass, and the more biomass they ingest, the more they evolve. So I was just wondering how would they put that into practice? Would they like make it to where they do like the Abathur thing of evolving into Brutalisks or something like that? But then that would just be a little bit, kind of the same. I would think that they would start making kind of like they would start making elite units, kind of like the way the mercenaries are elite units compared to the the regular forms. Like if you get mercenary marines, they're different from regular marines. So it's just one of those things. Like it would be pretty neat to see if they could do something like that with the primal Zergs. And the other thing is, once you have all three pathways protected, you will need to put a guard up for the expansion as well, because it's not really able to do it on its own. I always have trouble splitting these guys up. Okay, straighten up. Come together. Burrow down. Yes, because when you're selecting the army units, your burrowed swarm hosts and your unburrowed swarm host are different units in your selectory icon than they are from just being regular swarm hosts, because they technically count as two different forms. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to select them. And like I said, this mission is really quite simple. It's just a matter of holding positions, and it's not hard at all. Because the swarm hosts are really quite a very good unit, and I do believe that I'm not sure if you have the ability in this option. The option in this mission to upgrade your swarm host locust so that they can attack flying and ground units just yet. So what you may do is go through and complete the campaign, and then that'll give you the option to have your swarm hosts have the ability to basically have their locust be able to deal with ground and air. Don't forget to keep making spine crawlers and spore crawlers, because those are very helpful as well. So you'll always want to make drones and stuff like that when you're doing this. Yeah, the three units or 4 units I'd focus on making are drones, roaches, mutalisks, and swarm hosts. Roaches and mutalisks because of their maneuverability, drones because you can make spore crawlers and spine crawlers out of them, and swarm hosts because they're going to be your main defensive unit. Now you'll need the mutalisks and your drones because they can make the drones can make spore crawlers, which can deal with aerial stuff. Also, be working on your upgrades for your units as well. I believe swarm hosts and swarm hosts, drones, drone buildings, I should say, and roaches are affected by the evolution upgrades, and then mutalisks are affected by your... I think that's the swarm lair, or no, it's the flying building. Again, I apologize, I never can remember names. Yeah, you don't really have to focus too much at first on the third pathway, but eventually you will need to put some sort of defense down there, because they will be sending attacks from down there. As well as you will need to defend your expansion, because they will be sending attacks from the right, and sometimes the units that attack from the right if it's a big enough force, get distracted by that base. And then eventually they will start attacking from both sides, and then they'll start attacking from all three sides. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, on this mission, I wouldn't really make the queens. I know I'm making them in the video, but I really wouldn't make the queens because you need that gas for your swarm hosts, because the swarm hosts take, I believe, 200 gas to make. So it's just one of those things. They are a very heavy gas unit, and the other one, the mutalisks, take 100 gas for their unit. So just keep those in mind. And then down at the bottom you can see our secondary objective for this mission if you want the kerrigan levels. That one isn't too hard to get, but you have to remember that you have to cross over the fight that's going on down there. But like I said, focus on getting your defenses up before you go down there, because the last thing you want to do is try to run down there and have to pull your forces back across that fight that'll be going on down there. Grab those swarm hosts, and this is the entrance I was talking about down here. You may also want to have your queens put up creep tumors, so this way, well, you can spawn one queen so she can put up creep tumors so she can spread the creep. So you can put spore crawlers and spine crawlers down there. Because I don't see any creep tumors located anywhere on the creep that's currently out there. Well, usable creep tumors, I should say. And don't be afraid to use the primal zergs, the primal locust spawner, because it only takes about a minute and a half, or a minute 50 to cool down that ability. So use it fairly often, especially when they attack you. And do not send your swarm hosts out there by themselves. They can't fight that enemy. Yeah, now I'm just putting down a major force, so this way nothing can get through these pathways. But I didn't make any spore crawlers this time, so that's why I'm telling y'all to make spore crawlers, because you will get attacked by flying units, and the swarm hosts, unless you get that upgrade, cannot attack flying units. So yeah, I send this wave of mutalisks, but they're just not strong enough to deal with. And as you can see, yeah, the mutalisks are taking out my swarm host here, so that's why I say you need the spore crawlers so bad, is because if you don't have those spore crawlers, they'll just take out all your swarm hosts, and basically that's a really heavy investment you'd lose there. And as you can see, my mutalisks are already almost completely gone now. They just weren't enough to take that big dude down, which is why I suggest the roaches. Basically, make a bunch of roaches and give them the burrowing upgrade to where they can move while burrowed, and this way you can take them down there, take them underneath the fight that's going on. They won't even get shot at. Move all the way over there, pop up, attack him for, a couple of seconds. If they get too much damage on them, burrow them back in the ground, move them around. Because roaches heal when they're burrowed, so basically you use that to your advantage. You attack. If it gets a little hairy, you burrow, wait for your health to come back up, come up, attack, burrow, and just keep that up until he's pretty much dealt with. And that poor little queen is getting picked off. No, leave me alone. Yeah, at first I was like, why aren't the locusts attacking them? Oh wait, they don't attack air, so... Yeah, and the other reason my mutalisks died so easy is because I don't think I have any upgrades on them at this time, so that's one reason they died so fast, so... I'm starting to make the roach warren so I can make those roaches. And if you have the excess minerals and larvae, go ahead and make a bunch of zerglings. I mean, they are a great filler force, and they are pretty fast, so they can engage threats really easy. And they're very good at absorbing damage for your more expensive units, like the mutalisks and your swarm host. So just keep that in mind when you're building out your defenses and your army. Waiting for it. There we go. Roach City. Yeah, I decided to just send the whole force down there because I hadn't been making roaches yet, and I was already close to supply cap, so... That's why I say to start off making roaches. So this way you don't have to send your whole force across that primal Zerg line. But you don't have to make mutalisks. I just like them because of their maneuverability. You can also make hydralisks instead of mutalisks. It's just you'll lose the maneuverability for that. This is another reason why I say put your spore crawlers and spine crawlers up front, is because you need them to be able to engage the creatures that are coming up to attack. Don't put them behind, because more than likely you'll lose your swarm hosts before they'll be able to do any damage. Also, when choosing the strain to go with on your roaches, go with the slow strain, which I believe is the vile strain, because the corpser is the one that spawns 2 extra roaches. I found when engaging bigger units, kind of like the big primal zerg that was at the bottom, is easier with the slow speed, because they don't really have a lot of AoE damage that they do, and if you slow their attacks and have a bunch of roaches, they can't kill your roaches all at once, so it just makes it a whole lot easier. And if you want to save time from having your troops having to go all the way around, you can go ahead and destroy those rocks, so this way if you need to, you can come down there and just attack it yourself. Another good thing to use hydralisks over mutalisks is because you won't have to have 2 separate upgrades you are having to work with. Whereas when you're using mutalisks instead of hydralisks, you also have the flight building that you're having to manage upgrades on, because they don't work off the same upgrades that your other units use. Also, I should have probably moved my swarm host closer to that entrance, so this way they would actually be spawning on top of those patrols that come in down there. And I'm just now getting around to putting creep tumors down, so this way I can get creep down there. Which is why I was telling you to spread your creep down there sooner, so this way you can actually take care of these guys. And that was an accident. I was trying to move up the map, and I accidentally clicked the button. Yeah, just be aware of that if you're trying to move your mouse around. Yeah, that whole force that came up the right side got distracted by the expansion over there. Which I do think I eventually wind up losing that expansion because I didn't have a decent enough defense over there. And when you're placing the defenses, instead of putting them down below where I had them on that base, put them off to the side, off to the right side of that base. So this way it doesn't spawn, like your swarm hosts won't spawn and draw the attention of the attacks that come in on that side. And the other good thing about Zerglings, if you went with the Swarm strain, they spawn really, really fast. So if something's attacking your base, you can just grab all the locusts over there and just spam the Zerglings, spawn Zerglings, and you can have a force of like 30, 40 Zerglings in like about 15 seconds. Yeah, now they're picking up the pace on the attacks. And as you can see, I've already lost that expansion over there. That's why I say it's so important to have a good defense over there. But we've only got about 45 seconds before Kerrigan wakes up, so yay! Yep, go ahead and spawn Locust one last time. Try to keep your overlords from getting shot down. It's like, run over there, run over here, run over there. Yikes! Well, guys, that's pretty much how to do this mission. If you liked it, go ahead and give me a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to, go check me out on Facebook. My name's Anthony Sewell, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.